Let me explain why you should panic. I'm going to tell you about a creature that has been living beneath towns and villages for centuries, systematically eating the population and making everyone forget it exists. And the worst part, it's completely made up. The false Hydra does not appear in any official Dungeons & Dragons and source books. No monster manual, no Volo's guide, nowhere. It was created in September 2014 by a man named Arnold Kemp on a homebrew blog called Goblin Punch at 2:15 in the morning. That's important, 2:15 in the morning. That is not the time a well-rested, emotionally stable person creates things. That is an hour where your brain has stopped applying any kind of moral fiber, and Arnold Kemp used that window to birth something that makes you want to fucking face sit on some sandpaper. Polygon later called it the greatest homebrew monster ever written. Arnold presumably woke up next morning, read that, and felt absolutely nothing, because he's built different. So where does the false Hydra come from? It isn't spawned, it isn't summoned, it grows spontaneously underground from lies. According to the lore, accumulated human dishonesty, every lie, every deception, every time someone said I'm fine when they were categorically not fine, compresses into organic matter beneath the earth and eventually becomes this fleshy, pale, unidentifiable mass that one day decides it's had enough of being inert and starts developing opinions about eating people. You know, one day I just want to encounter a monster in D&D that doesn't want to eat people, you know what I mean? Like one that gives you flowers, that kind of thing. So if a false Hydra appears beneath your settlement, there's a direct reflection of the collective moral character of your community. You manifested it through dishonesty. You grew a monster under your own town like a fucking evil turnip, and now it's everyone else's problem. As it matures underground, it develops a neck, then a head, and I need you to picture this carefully because, you know, the description gets very, very scary. The head is white, hairless, jaw hanging permanently open, not slightly ajar, not casually relaxed, but hanging, like someone who has just been told their, car insurance quota. Black voids where eyes should be, no nose, just this pale, gaping, expressionless face slowly emerging from the earth. And then it develops an arm, the fucking arm. Human arms, multiple arms that pushes up through the soil and grab people walking above. Now, I want to be very clear about this. There's no subtlety here. There's no traps, no laws, no clever mechanics or any kind of mechanism. It just reaches up and it takes you. The false Hydra has the audacity of being a creature that's never once been told no in its entire existence. I mean, just imagine walking by one day, you're gathering some fucking turnips in your farm, having a good time. Nothing completely wrong at all, and then you feel these cold, white, soil-infested fingers tickling your butt cheeks. Fuck. It also sings. Not a song you can hear, not even a sound, really, more like a frequency operating just below conscious perception. Conscious perception. That's my bad. That does one very specific, very targeted thing. It makes your brain structurally incapable of acknowledging that the creature exists. Not invisibility, not a charm spell. It reaches directly into your cognition and removes a specific category of awareness, the part of your brain responsible for noticing it, filing it, and remembering it. Gone. Disabled. Your mind doesn't exist. It doesn't fight. It cooperates. Your own brain has been recruited as an active agent working against your survival, and it's accepted it with, the ease of breathing. Yeah, with just the ease of breathing. So, when it reaches up in the night and drags your wife underground, and I'm using wife an example here, it will literally take anyone. It has no preferences. You wake up the next morning and look at her side of the bed and you think, yeah, well, it's always been empty like that. You go downstairs, make one cup of tea, cue the British music. That was always one cup of tea, everything's fine, nothing happened, you're completely normal. The creature has not just eaten your wife, it's eaten the concept of your wife, and you helped. Now, the human brain is not actually built to sustain this level of abuse indefinitely. Over time, it starts to crack. People in the affected areas develop paranoia, nervous disorders, and a persistent feeling that something is wrong that they can never quite identify or articulate. They stop trusting their own perceptions. They start double-checking things. Did I always live here? Has the house always been this empty? No, why do I have 2 dogs when I only remember getting 1? In the most severe cases, a condition documented in the original lore has a split brain syndrome. The left hemisphere of the brain, which for neurological reasons cannot process the song the same way, begins to try and communicate directly with the right. The affected person wakes up with words scratched into their own skin, written by their own hand, in the night while they slept. Their body is sending distress signals, physically carving warnings into itself, and the conscious mind reads it and thinks, I cannot stress how much this should not be possible, but it thinks, oh, that's weird. Anyway, you have been so thoroughly violated on a cognitive level that you're ignoring your own body screaming at you in the only language it has left. If no one chooses to stop it, it will just grow. More heads, more neck. They begin to extend above ground level, above rooftops. This is where the song stops being subtle and starts being something else entirely. At 3 heads, the memory erasure becomes more aggressive, not just passive gaps, but active targeted deletion of specific people, specific events, entire relationships scrubbed clean in real time. At 7 heads, it achieves full domination. Every living thing within range becomes a servant. Like an actual servant, actually feeding it, actively protecting it, and eventually physically carrying it, this enormous, multi-headed pale abomination to the next settlement, so the entire process can, begin again. So, how do you stop it? The answer is, actually quite simple. You plug your ears, physically block the song, and suddenly your brain regains access to everything it was hiding from you. The gaps become invisible, empty houses, blurry faces and photographs, flowers on graves with no mourner in sight. That's literally it. Yeah. As the entire defense against a creature that has been collapsing civilizations for centuries. Fingers in the ears. I'm not listening. This thing has been getting away with it for thousands of years, and the hard counter is something you do when someone nearby is chewing too loudly. This has been Let Me Explain Why You Should Panic. And here's a little spoiler. You definitely should.
My sweet child, why dost thou tremble, my sweet child?